came directly from hospital and all of that.
Oh yes, I did.
Because that's what we want to talk about.
Okay.
The stressful medicine of the thing.
I'm not the good person.
It's not stressful.
He loves his job.
Dr. always have it.
Dr. Vongdip loves his job.
My job. Well, maybe it's because I expect to be solving a lot of problems. I really don't want to sound very technical with many things. Otherwise, I'll be asking, at what point do you say that a job is stressful? Because sometimes we over, or rather, I will say, this is me not sounding insensitive. But are we sure that it is beyond the limit of the things we can do? Or are we sure that some of the things that add to our worry and our cares is not external to the job itself? These are some of the things that we have to worry about. I know that it's a lot of things. Physical stress, emotional stress. Stress can be in different forms.
And on the baseline is more stressful compared to other.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you can start from there.
Of course, but again, if we are going to make comparisons, especially with line of work, there are some jobs that I find very stressful, and I will choose my job over doing those ones because truly.
Dr. Vongdip, which job? See, I feel that Dr. Vongdip is the wrong person to be having this conversation with. Dr. Vongdip likes work. You did not hear his opening statement that he feels like there are some things that he should be solving problems. So Dr. Vongdip wakes up each morning, goes to work to solve problems. Why would that type of person feel stressed?
I feel tired.
But the question is, you want to solve problems. Are the problems only in the hospital?
No, guys. Let's not make it about you. I really think we have not started this podcast. Let's start from the beginning. What do we mean by stress? Let me do like my Oga. Context matters. Can we put in context to this conversation?
No matter the context, we want to put it in.
Can we first put in context to this conversation so that let me not sound as if I'm supporting work or something?
No. I think that it's just who he is. It's who you are, sir.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, who opens a statement by saying, excuse me, please, by saying, I don't really feel like that. I wake up each day to solve problems. Wow. What do I do? Honestly, see, when he said that, I actually paused. I stopped listening to everything he was saying to ask myself if I go to work each day trying to solve problems. Sincere, when he made that comment, he kept saying other things. Sincerely, I didn't hear other things he was saying. I was thinking about me now. Do I wake up each day wanting to solve problems, or do I wake up to go and complain about my work environment, work ethics, and when you are doing something, your colleagues are being chill, cutting corners, and all of that. I just thought that was my thought. I know I didn't hear everything he said, but just that one line caused me to pause and think.
I think we'll have a special episode for you.
Yeah,
you will just talk about the passion of medicine.
Honestly,
I don't know what that
is. Dr. Vongdip, you are.
I'm not though.
See, I will say it again. I don't see why anyone will start a. No, that's a genius level.
You probably give me if you want. I'm making me feel
elder.
No, but really, truly speaking, really, why do you think we work?
To solve problems. We agree with you.
Exactly.
We agree with you.
To solve problems. So when you're coming to work in the morning, what are you thinking about?
How to solve problems.
Some persons are coming to make money, Sha.
Do you understand? And then some people are just coming to work to come to work.
To come to work.
Another day.
When we come to work, what do we expect that we'll be doing?
To solve problems.
But not your own side.
but here's the thing, right? Problems don't exist only in the hospital. And what we're trying to talk about today is doing what you need to do in the hospital.
Yeah.
And doing what you need to do with your family,
True.
your partner, your children, and all of those.
Yeah.
And there are problems everywhere.
Very true.
So, let's not make this about you.
Exactly.
All right. So there's a balance that need to be had in trying to solve those problems in the hospital, trying to solve the problems at home, the attention you have to give to each of them.
Yeah.
Church, other
know,
activities too. I don't think it's just the home one.
Before we started recording, she was asking if anybody has struck that balance.
Yes, he was talking about it, and that was my question. I asked if has anybody ever balanced it. He said we're managing. I'm managing it, but you don't sound like you're managing it. You sound like
You see now, you.
Oh yeah, we will not make it about
now
you.
think as if I'm a superstar. I'm not. I'm really not. I think life. Okay, this is what I think. We're all work in progress, and I think the more you grow in this profession, the more you grow in family, the more you grow in responsibilities, church, and all of that. The more you begin to, or rather, the more there is a need to really define your priorities. You must actually know what you can do and what you will not do. And this is me not talking about right or wrong things. At some point, the conversation of Paul, you will find wisdom in it. When Paul said, everything is permissible, not everything is beneficial. And this is him not necessarily talking about right and wrong. This is him talking about on things that you are permitted to do, but now you have to rethink about the benefits. I give you an example. I've been thinking, and I don't know how many weddings I've gone through last year. How many occasions that I've gone to last year, for example. It's not as if I don't have people that have gotten married. But sometimes Saturday and Sunday are the only 2 weekends that you have. And if you are not in breakfast meeting, you need to find time to at least be at home, for the family and all of that. And Sunday is that day you go to church, you come back. And for me, Sunday is my resting days. So Sunday is not a visiting day for me. Sunday is actually my sleep days. And so you will now have to start prioritizing which engagement you get to honor, which one you don't get to honor. You can't do everything. Truly, you cannot do everything. Medicine is hard. Why make your life
because that's some of the reason why I would say it's one of the things that account for the stress per se, demand for that accounts for the long hours you spend at work and all that. Because of the nature of medicine, I think we have to admit that.
True.
Medicine is not that kind of place where you can say, it's 4 o'clock, I've closed shop, and everybody should just go.
Oh, of course. Of course.
You don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
But speaking to priority that you mentioned, how do you prioritize practically? We've jumped ahead of this conversation, but we'll come from there and go back. In literature that those years they say there's something called plot, right? You can start from the end.
The plot of the story.
So let's make it practical, because I know the priority you're talking about is not just priority of home and work. There's priority even in the work itself, right? Okay, so talk about it.
Okay, now for the work, right? That's what you're asking. Okay, so let's hear you.
Maybe we should start with Ezinne first.
No, sir. Wait, now you've started already.
No, because I want to. This is me trying to really understand. So I need a lot of context. I need a lot of scenarios.
Let me give you context.
Yeah.
Let me give you context. He gave an instance where, or rather, he said, medicine is not like where it's 4 o'clock. Of course, we know we go to work 8 to 4.
Yeah.
But if we're honest, we know we don't leave work by 4.
Yeah.
Even when you're not the one on call.
Yeah.
You have to attend to all the patients, finish your rounds. Even if you had clinic that day, you must finish all of it before you leave the hospital. And there are chances that as you're about leaving, something else comes up and you need to attend to it. And it's in the hospital.
Yeah.
It's patient related.
Yeah.
So he's not trying to ask, or rather he's saying, how do you now prioritize, knowing, I have to make priorities. That was the first thing you said now about making priorities. And I think when you mentioned that, you said something about Sundays being your rest days. So it's like you've made that priority. I'm not going anywhere on Sunday. I'm not visiting anybody. This is my rest time. This is time I spend at home.
I've allotted 5 p.m. to spend with my children that evening.
Yes. But now we are not staying there. You know, we're coming from the back now. He's now saying, when it comes to medicine, how do you prioritize? Okay. Before I hope I got you right. Yes. Before we come to, I think it's even easier for you to prioritize family and all of that than the work itself. I feel so.
Okay. All right. So for me, I'm a senior resident. So I will use my current day job. I'll give an example of what the residency training program looks like. So on the average, as a resident, if you are in the junior residency, you're expected to do ward rounds. You're expected to see patients. I'm a physician, so you're expected to run clinics. You're expected to do unit presentation. You're expected to do departmental presentations. You're supposed to prepare for mobility and mortality meetings. So, and daily, as the case might be, you're expected to review consults, right? You're expected to take your calls. You're expected to supervise house officers. If you are a resident, a junior resident, you're expected to also teach medical students, as they come for their clinical rotations and all of those things. Then you're expected to do some other roles as assigned by your senior residents or assigned by the consultant, because for units, you need to do unit research and you're supposed to be part of the research team and all of those things. You're still expected to read your book because residency training program is a postgraduate program, so you are expected to be knowing more stuff. You are still expected to do bedside training so that you can hone your clinical skill because you are going for a clinical exam. And you don't have more than 24 hours to do all of those things. Personally, I try to make distinctions between what I know is emergency, what is urgent, and what is elective. So I put things into those 3 scales. And I do that so that anything that is elective is something you can plan for. You must not do it today. You can plan the next 1 week or 2 weeks to do. Anything that is urgent is something that you can attend to in the next 5, 6, 7 hours, sometimes 24 hours. You can attend to it to the next day. Anything that is an emergency, you have to attend to it right now. So every day I plot my schedule like that to know what I'm supposed to attend to. So for example, if I have a departmental seminar in the next 2 months, that's elective. You are not supposed to be doing fire. I don't like fire brigade approach. I will begin to put it layer by layer, either to do the literature review or to begin to read around the topic so that I have an idea and all of those things. Teaching medical students is urgent. So I can divide which day of the week, when in my ward rounds, what time of the ward rounds. If I'm on call that week, I push my teaching sessions to my call. So that as I'm reviewing call patients, I'm also teaching medical students and doing all of those things. But ward rounds, consults are things you must see that day. So, and depending on how you sort out your patients. Another thing is that for me as a physician, one of the things I started doing when I started residency is I have to know the very day I'm reviewing a patient, I give a timeline in my brain as to when I'm going to discharge this patient. Now, when I said I was going to do internal medicine, a lot of people said, your patients, you don't discharge your patient, you keep continuing ongoing management. For me, you see, there are units that the workload was a little bit more because the patient load was more. And why the patient load was more is because we were not discharging.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you will realize that when you prepare for mobility and mortality, the number of patients that are rotated through the units are not necessarily more than the number of patients that are rotated through another unit. So patient statistics, 80 people finished gastro, the same about 80 or 82 did endocrinology. But by the end of the month, gastroenterology might just have like 10 people on admission. Endocrinology had like 45.
Gastro used to have high mortality, shall.
Not necessarily mortality.
No, but they're not.
It's not necessarily mortality, it's endpoint. So for a patient that have PLCC, for example, we already know that this is advanced. So a patient that has advanced liver cancer, we already know that this is palliative care. You solve pain, you solve constipation, you make sure that anything that would take the person into hepatic encephalopathy, you sort that out. You place the person on, for the people that qualify for sorafenib, you place it on them.
But I think that's a very strong point. I had this consultant then that anytime we're doing rounds, he will always say, what our plan is to get this person home. What are you doing today to get this person home?
Yeah.
So that was my mindset. In fact, right now as a senior resident, that's how I'm training my house officers. If you delay collecting investigation, you prolong hospital stay. You add more work
to your load. And all of
so why not? Let's sort out. So the patient where I was on call yesterday, part of, we're discussing the, what do you call it now, the CD4 count of one of my patients. In fact, they have just sent me 2 CD4 counts of the patients admitted yesterday. So already I told my house officers, let's gather all of these. Today's Friday. Let's make sure that we have all of the necessary investigations. The person was supposed to start on anti-TB, let's start today. So that by the time you are coming on Monday, it's already 3 days on anti-cox. If this person is stable, by the end of next week, you have discharged. You have reduced the workload on your head.
True.
So sometimes if you're efficient in the things you do and you shorten hospital stay, you discharge more patients and you have more time to rest. So sometimes, there are some of those things that are within our control. But that a patient for 3 days doesn't have an investigation.
If we can make our processes more efficient, that would even help us addressing because it's stressful. We know generally it's stressful,
and
but there are things
discipline.
We can do.
Yes, you need discipline to actually do those things because some people just come to work and they don't make this schedule or this is like a to-do list. And they don't do that. But if it's something that each morning you come to work, you're able to do it, I think it makes work more. Like, just listening to him talk sounds really nice. Like, sounds nice. So I want to believe that our listeners, with what they've heard, can actually plan themselves properly, knowing that over time, that, this balance, you can manage it. You can actually try and manage yourself, at least. Make your plans each day, what's it called now? How do I put it? That each time you come to work, in fact, I think I'm going to ask you, Dr. Vongdip, if in the month, whether you also make your plans like that, or do you just do it as a daily plan? You see how you mentioned that when you ask yourself questions, is this objective? Is it an emergency? Is this elective? You plan yourself like that. Yes, prioritize, exactly. So, I
think it's something very practical. I did a rotation in plastic, and plastic can be very busy, patients everywhere.
Yes.
But man, I really did enjoy it. The senior residents were very efficient. We had a list of all the patients on our phones. Everybody knows what is happening, right? So the house officers are coming in, you are given the list, we are updating it. What needs to be done for the next patient? What needs to be done for the next patient? Everybody's on as the round is ending that day, sharing of duties, everything was just on point. We are seeing up to 30 patients almost every day, and it doesn't feel so stressful.
Yes, because they are efficiently doing their work. I think the key word there should now be efficiency. Yes, not just showing up. I have to go back to what he said. That particular line where he said he wants to solve problems. I think most of us are not like that.
Do you have these checklists per se, or list of things to do? Weekly, daily, monthly, how do you do that to make sure that you are doing what you need to be doing?
Okay, so I have checklists daily and weekly. Some are monthly, depending on the schedule, as I said. So depending on whether it's urgent, whether it's emergency. And as I told you, patient care is emergency. So every day I go back home, I think about my patients. I think about all of the patients, the diagnosis, what's going on, especially the patients that I don't know what's wrong with them. When I have a patient that I don't know what's wrong with the patient, sometimes when I sleep, I wake up, that's one of the things I think about. What am I missing? What am I not missing? How do we sort this patient out? If a patient is staying more than 5 days in my unit, I have to go back home and think again. I don't like having patients spending more than 5 days. For me, maximum 5 to 7 days, I should be able to discharge you from the time I'm seeing you in the hospital as an internal medicine physician. That's how I've been running my unit.
But there's a little challenge there now.
All right.
You see now, that part of going home to continue thinking about the patient, that's now another
Do you know
challenge.
that when he said that, a picture of my husband came to mind, right? Where he comes home and he's making, like, the guy is making calls. He's on his phone. And I don't say he's pressing his phone. I say he's on his phone. Hello? No. Have you checked? What did you get? Is the result? Were you able to pick the sample? And I'm like, my brother, you just came back. I think you should eat now. I think you should go and bathe. Like, you know, so when he said that, he's thinking in my heart.
My wife shares the same sentiment.
and that is a balance. We have to
true. That happens. Again, that happens maybe within the first 30 minutes, 1 hour of getting home. And that's because you want to drop that phone and spend the rest of that time with your family. So, and that usually happens when you get home between 6, 7, 8 o'clock.
Look at and work close by 4. I used to when someone's getting home 6, 7.
As I said, as a junior resident, because there are levels to that. As a junior resident, you're supposed to supervise the house officer. If these things are not done, tomorrow morning your senior resident thinks you are lazy. Because he expects that you're supposed to supervise your house officer. But now, as a senior resident, I can leave that responsibility to my junior resident. So the higher you go, the more you take more administrative responsibilities and less. I don't want to use the word bedside or less handy like that. So the more younger doctors are the ones that do the more handy job, collecting blood sample, ensuring that an NG tube is passed and all of those things. The real passing is done by the house officer and the junior resident. It's only difficult procedures that they have to escalate to you, or major procedures they escalate to you. But now you move to administrative role, which is more of planning, more of follow-up, more of monitoring, so that's why I can come back. So true, I can close work 3, 4, but I am still running work remotely because I'm still making calls to make sure that this thing gets to be done.
I was going to bring up delegation, as a means of, managing work efficiently to kind of create
that only works if you are senior in the team.
That's just the higher you go, the easier it is to delegate.
But delegation comes with extra responsibility of follow-up, of mentoring. Because sometimes you can't just do it.
So, but can I probe for that? Can I say that perhaps some of what gives us stress is that mentoring is not happening the way it should be, such that perhaps the junior doctor needs so much supervision to actually get things done?
I don't want to put it that way, so that let it not look as if it's the problem of the junior doctor, because everybody has different things that are going on in their lives at different points in time. Even the junior doctor too, because as I said, more handiwork are the lower cadre. So you will. So the kind of stress that is likely to happen at that level is physical. Physical body exhaustion, because you have to be there physically. You have to literally do all of the running around. But me at the upper cadre, I'm dealing more with emotional, more with psychological stress because I'm frustrated. If you can't get things done, I have to come down to do it physically done. So that adds to many things. I'm under pressure from both the consultant, because when things are not done right, the consultant cannot talk to the registrar. The consultant thinks I'm unserious. So I'm like the engine room that puts everything in balance. I must make sure that the consultant is satisfied and the things are going on well and all of those things. So that's a whole level of stress that is a little bit different. And I have to manage the physical strength of my junior colleagues. That is both the registrar and the house officer. I have to also micromanage both their physical capacity and even their emotion. Because sometimes you have to micromanage people to go by, depending on what they are going through and all of that.
You just touched on something I wanted to talk about. Because I think one of the challenges that junior doctors have is that sometimes it seems as though the seniors tend to not appreciate the amount of work, the amount of effort, how busy they can be. It seems as though the seniors have forgotten how it can be busy for the juniors, because you have to be there before activity starts to make sure things are in place. You have to be there during the activity because you have to learn, and you have to be there after to make sure that.
I don't think they forget. It's just in the explanation that Dr. Vongdip just gave, where they now delegate and now expect that, guy, you should know how to do this. You should know that this is what you're expected to do.
Yeah, you should
pull your weight. Because they feel that, I've been there, I've done this.
I've pulled my weight.
Yes.
Pull yours.
Do you get? So now I expect you to do this. So it now looks as if you're now there. You are not the one.
So it feels as if the world is crashing
on you. Exactly.
Do you understand?
Because the work is on you. You are expected to do things. You're expected to just know this is the right thing. Just like before we came, we already knew that you were going to set up this place. So imagine that we come in and you now tell us, wait, I have to go and buy battery for the microphone. But you knew that today.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Exactly.
And before then, let's say Prof already instructed you, make sure they record. Right? And then Prof will not come and ask us, why are you people not recording? He's going to reach out to you. And by the time he reaches out to you, you are the one that's supposed to do the job. Maybe you asked what's the editor-in-chief? There's somebody that you added to the group. You asked her to get the battery. You cannot go to go and get the battery. You're supposed to set up here while she gets the battery. Do you understand? So Dr. Vongdip calls Prof and says, we are there. The recording is not happening. What are we going to do about it? You think Prof is going to call that girl?
Exactly. And when Prof calls you, you can't throw her under the bus.
Exactly. You not say, you not say, sir, I'm on it.
Exactly.
But I think some persons will still argue because I mean, of course, we've seen the news. Some maybe house officer, resident is ill, still has to come to work, maybe because permission was not granted or it was granted under some strict conditions and whatnot. And then we've seen a number of these cases of someone dying at work, regardless of the circumstances, whether they were initially ill or whatever. But as of the time that happened, they were not in the best state of health.
True.
And they could have been at home resting.
Do you know that the thing is that sometimes people are not very honest?
I wanted him to learn first.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for even starting from there. So I'm the chief resident of my department. I have some other extra perspective to all of this.
Okay.
Starting from the thing she's saying, people are not very honest about themselves. I have house officers that I always try to make conversations with them. How are you? Those questions are not cliche questions.
That's the thing.
There are people that ask them as cliche questions, but try to know and discern who is honest with asking those questions. And there is this atmosphere of suspicion that many people think you have an additional layer of special interest. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's because some other people have done that to them in the past, especially when you're dealing with opposite, gender. So you have female house officers, you are really asking them. Unfortunately, we are colleagues. We have to work, So you're asking male house officers, how are you? And everybody say, we did. Or you're asking female house officers and you begin to think as if you have a special interest on them or something. The reason why we're asking is so that we can know how much work your shoulders are able to carry. That should be, and sometimes we're asking, do you have a what do you call it now, a background comorbidity? I give you an example. I have a house officer who resumed my department. She told me that she wanted to travel midway in her housemanship midway in her rotation in internal medicine to go outside the country to go and have a medical checkup. So I asked her, why are you having a medical checkup? Outside the country. No, my challenge was not even outside the country. What is the challenge that you have that would warrant a medical checkup? She said, no problem, I should not mind, that she doesn't want to talk about it. So I just kept quiet. Because I told her that I'm saying these things out of genuine concern. This is not me prying into your personal life. These days, people prioritize what they call personal life. I kept quiet. We were on call, and by the next day during post-call review, when we're just doing post-call review, she slumped.
Oh
The middle of post-call review. She fell down like straight to the ground.
my God.
Blacked out.
Oh my
You know,
God.
then I had to come with Theron's helter-skelter. I had to take her to go and do an ECG. And that's when, I started hearing some background medical issues. I told her, but I asked you. I asked you. Eventually, she said, I don't want to go into the rest of the story and back and forth. But my point is that if that is to appear on social media, that will not be the narrative.
Exactly.
That will not be the narrative. That will be half story. A house officer has been working. She immediately after call, because of the stress of her job, she fainted.
And they're not paying them. They've not been paying them. They will not include that it's because of the pay too.
Sometimes people are not sincere. They don't say the things the way they are. One, secondly, it's still part of insincerity. When you are not known for integrity, it's difficult to know when you are genuinely ill or not.
Yes.
We have colleagues that we know they don't run away from work. The day they come to tell us they are not feeling fine, all of us are telling for this person not to come to work. This person is sick.
Yes, something is up.
But a lot of colleagues don't have that testimony. They don't. True. You are either the one dodging work or you are the one giving a lot of excuse. To start with, today I had to have a conversation with Dr. Etubi because we had a meeting, and all of that. And the bottom line of the conversation is that now we're having a generation of doctors who do not understand the obligation of work. They don't, to start with, and I'm telling you from the depth of my heart, that right now, if I'm telling my department's registrars and house officers that medicine is serious business, they think I'm wicked.
Yes, sorry sir, to just cut. Please, I need to just come in a bit just before you continue. This thing he just said now is very true, like very, very true. But the thing is that there are some people who are not real. They are not, sorry, Dr. Vongdip is a nice person. Dr. Vongdip is kind, right? That's why he would ask you, how are you? That's why he would want to know, are you fine? Are you okay? That's why he would ask you questions. But there are some people that will not do that. Good. So those people are the problem. But now people too, especially the younger doctors, now assume that everybody is like that.
It's like that, right?
And for me now, you saw the example he gave us. I wish that we can understand that when our seniors, especially seniors, who has that integrity, asks you a question, you don't need to sugarcoat it. You don't need to say, oh, it's well, or I'm fine, like what she did. You don't need to do that, oh, I'm fine, or it's okay. There's some people that should ask you. This is a chief ed asking you a question. Even if it's a chief ed, this is a senior doctor asking you a question. Do you think that he will go and start spreading it around? Do you it's a question, like a genuine question? So I think that as younger doctors, what we can do is, when they're asking you a question, answer sincerely. But the things that people want to lie, they want to give information so that when it's time, they have something to use, and this is a card. They want to play this card of, oh, I'm not feeling fine. Oh, this is what is exactly wrong with me. They don't want you to know that it's just headache I used to have. Do you understand? So when it's time, they want to say, I have headache, I have stomach ache, my the kneecap went off.
They
wanted to become a syndrome.
Exactly. So they don't want to just be plain or honest. And then some people too, they want to keep the things personal. But I have an issue with that. And it's not only in medicine that is happening now, sir. A lot of young people growing up do not like giving information or answering questions.
True.
You ask them and they just close up.
Maybe I should come this way. I think what we are lacking now is something called, so in community medicine, there's something called stakeholder mapping. And I think especially those of us who are younger colleagues, we must learn stakeholder mapping. In stakeholder mapping, there are people that have influence. And there are people that I think you are mapping influence against I think one thing is power. That's influence. On another thing, you are mapping interest. Yeah. So So influence and interest. Yeah. So there are people that have a lot of interest, but they have very little influence. There are people that have little interest, but they have a lot of influence. So maybe if you listen to this podcast, please read about stakeholder mapping, because the people with high influence, although little interest, actually what you do is you keep them satisfied. So you must map out who is where, and by keeping those people satisfied because of the influence they have, you must give them all of. In fact, part of the thing is you are giving them regular updates. They are the people that should know what is going on, and because they have the power to make things happen or not happen for you. So a chief resident, for example, a head of department, for example, a unit consultant, for example, those are stakeholders with high influence. Those people must know the entire truth. I have another residents that a lot of things went back and forth. The person skipped me as the chief reg, went and told the story to the HOD. Okay. And the HOD recursed back to me to verify whether we should allow that person go or not. So I had to return back to tell the person, this is what the HOD has told me. The person say, I say, of course, nothing is hidden under the sun. In this department, I am the sun.
But thank God that song is not my like song.
That, do you understand? Thank you. That's it. Sum of that song.
I was telling the resident that you see, when you tell me, I cannot defend what I don't know. Because when your name is mentioned, because you don't know where your name will be mentioned. When your name and your issue is mentioned, I will be on that table because it's a decision making table. But I cannot defend what I don't know. And those are people with very genuine So I think every younger colleague must know how to do stakeholder mapping. I understand that it's not everybody that you have to let out your heart or your secret to. But there are people, in fact, some informations are reserved for some categories of people. You must know who should know what. You must know who is motivated by what. You understand? So when you do your stakeholder mapping, you know who to tell what and who not to tell. I think it's a good way of living, and that happens in every setting, in every work setting. Choice not of friends, in church, everywhere, in medicine, business world. You must know who are the important stakeholders. I think
this stakeholder mapping thing, it's like a whole conversation, because one of the challenges I think that with this work-life balance is, if you don't manage work properly, it begins to affect everything.
Everywhere,
So, first, apart from not doing your work well and leaving work late and all of that, if you don't manage work very well, the emotions from work follow you home.
Spill over, true now.
So you're at home, even if there's no work to be done, you're too angry to even communicate and have time with anybody. Or sometimes the emotional stress from work, you're just tired. You just need some space and all of that. So I think that's really something that we should look into. It's a very strong point. It's a very strong point.
Imagine sharing the most difficult issues with a fellow house officer, or you are complaining that work is stressful, you are having very bad time with senior colleagues and all of those things, and you are sharing that with maybe your mother. Your mother on the stakeholder mapping will be somebody that have high interest, little influence.
Little no influence even.
So those people, yes, because they have a lot of interest, they motivate you. That's what they will do. But beyond motivation, they cannot lighten the load.
There's more that they can do.
So you should learn, you should learn stakeholder.
I think listen to this. I'm just hearing a lot of things now, right? Because there's this tendency for us to want to be free with people that have high interest
and no influence. We say little. There's no influence at all.
Little. Everybody is stakeholder.
You want to be emotional. You want to let out yourself to those persons that you feel have a listening ear, but they may not be able to.
Example.
And we are not very
social media friends. Social media friends.
People post
things. They post things and you relate to it. You are very emotional. So we will gather on X and we are busy saying, life is like this. We are suffering as residents. We are suffering as acts officers. And in truth, all of us have low influence, high interest. But the real decision makers are not hearing the things that they should.
Exactly.
And the conversations are not online. So maybe if we that will help lighten some of the things that you should know who to tell what. And sometimes that can be very significant if you understand that power play. That can even help you in the workplace because you beyond housemanship, beyond residency. A lot of people will work with bigger organizations. Even if you are going to work with the NGO, you must map out the real stakeholders in that NGO. So you can be very hardworking, but have zero reward.
Yes.
Because the people with the real influence don't even recognize, they cannot see you. And that is why you keep the people with little interest high, you keep them satisfied. Regular updates. They must have the perception that you are doing well.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't talk with them frequently. They are not your friends. Yes. So what you are just giving them is time to time updates, either monthly, quarterly updates, and all of that. But so long as they see performance, because they have performance indicators. When you are meeting me and you are telling me you are not coming for morning meeting today, my performance indicators, have you been missing morning meetings in time past? Have you been contributing in morning meetings in time past? The day you are supposed to present and you send me a message that you're having gastroenteritis, because of my performance indicator, I think this is a serious person.
Yes.
There's no need to be hard on you. You're a serious person. Tomorrow, if I hear that I'm sharing extra call for everybody and I see you there, Kai, something in me tells me, Kai, because this person is I can forgive the rest of the team because you belong to that team. Do you understand? And that is because there are performance indicators. I've seen your performance. I've seen
over
your
time.
output.
True.
Yeah. So again, if we're talking about stress and all of that, sometimes let's see how I usually see problems. The way I analyze things, I see how I've contributed to the common wrong. Truly, medicine is hard. Medicine is hectic.
Finally making that vision.
No. He has always made that. It's just that. I told you, it's his person.
No, it's.
Do you understand? It's his person. Whether medicine is hard or not, he wakes up each morning to.
You are dealing with a fellow human life. That's what is making this job hectic. I'm telling you, because the things you do or you don't do determines whether somebody lives or dies. If you've lost a parent, you will really understand the value of one life. That's a breadwinner.
I think the way I heard someone put it is sometimes you see statistics that say 1 in 100 women die
of maternal mortality.
That one.
You don't know who that one is.
Yes,
that one is the one.
I am not even going there. This is me who practice bedside medicine. I see breadwinners die. Education has ended
for a lot of children.
Some of them have to relocate back to the village. Because Abuja is not, many of us, we just came to Abuja. And many people don't have personal houses. The reason why we are in Abuja is because maybe the breadwinner is working. But that person dies. Imagine coming from 10 to 0 in 24 hours.
24 hours.
Because
after spending a lot of money.
Do you understand? And that's why medicine is a very tough business. And I sympathize with people who were forced into this profession. Because we have to also look at that.
We have to look at that.
Yes,
I sympathize with them.
So someone like him had a passion from
I've never had passion.
You've
I've never had passion.
Really?
You don't want to know my story.
Okay, so when did the passion come?
No. I don't even think I'm passionate. I don't think I'm passionate about
my chief.
If you are not passionate,
I tell you I like my job. It doesn't mean I'm passionate. See, when I was in secondary school, I did not, true life story, I did not know that if you study medicine, you're going to be a medical doctor. I don't know how.
Oh, yeah. He mentioned this in one of the podcasts. Right? Yes.
No, so that's how terrible
no, but you
are
passionate.
You know, look, for me, okay, so.
But now,
you are passionate.
It's not. If I was doing something else apart from medicine, I would have still been like this. I just, as I said,
okay,
for
you're
me,
passionate by character.
My goal, not by character.
it up your father. Not my character.
Full stop.
I think it's my predisposition to life.
We're saying it.
No, I'm not passionate about it. My predisposition to life is that whatsoever you find yourself doing, please just do it well. If the Hausa people will say, and that's because
right?
If you have decided that you are going, so eating frog is an abomination. But even if you try to do the abominable, at least just do it well because you have to. So they are just trying to say that irrespective of the extent of how terrible the thing you've decided to do, that for the fact that you have decided that you are going to dive into this endeavor, just do it well. I mean,
just before we come to a close, right? There is this part of doctors not knowing, knowing the boundaries per se. Even, to use the case of persons who are not feeling too well, there was this case last year. Lost a colleague, close friend. We went to school together and all of that, and it was very emotional because he's someone that we all knew, in school then, and all of those. I'm trying not to go into the specifics, but the story I was hearing is that he was not feeling too well, and he had the opportunity to actually go home, and nobody kept him, but he stayed back. And during that period, his colleagues, just after discussing with him in the call room, they went for, I think, a surgery case or whatever, and then someone came into the call room, so he was not even working at the time, right? Someone came to the call room and just found him on the ground, lifeless.
Oh my God.
He had the opportunity to go. That's the story I heard, though. I don't know if it's different, but I'm very sure that there are several cases like that, and I think we see it all the time. So persons who are, quote unquote, they are at their limits, and really they should just rest.
It's not necessarily true. I get that part
because I'm thinking, is it that savior complex now that is
not really? You see, there is that. Okay, this problem can be multi-layered. Ezinne is talking about something very important that we are yet to even talk about, the issue of trust. You see, the way the kingdom of God has thrived is by discipleship. We now have a generation of people that talk to nobody, and that is very detrimental. That person you've given time, and sometimes we really assume that the stress people are going to, the people are going through is work related.
It's not true.
Work is the immediate problem. They might have been going through a remote problem. Home can be on fire.
Yeah.
Relationship, trauma, economic, something else. But they do not have, and some of it is not, they are not things that prayer will fix. Some of them are planning. Some of them are expectations that they are not managing well. Some of them are investments that they are terrible at. And that's what
consequences of poor decisions.
Poor decision. And that's what mentorship will fix. That's what mentorship will fix. If you have someone you've been talking with, maybe you think I have things figured out, because I really, at every junction, have people who have helped me manage expectations, manage finances, manage career goals.
I think we should do an episode on mentorship.
Yes, now, but then before anybody says anything, I asked Dr. Vongdip, let it be known to everybody in this life. I said, Dr. Vongdip mentor me.
Are we not mentoring each other? Are we not mentoring each other? We were talking before we started this podcast. No, true. Because for that person, you don't know why he refused to go home. You really think that home is the remedy. Some people, they are running away from home. I've seen doctors that even during strike are staying in the hospital. Yes.
And holding on
Yes. I've seen doctors that during strike, they are not going home. Because home is not a safe place.
It's not peaceful.
So I've seen senior colleagues that insist that other people too should be here because this is the only life that they have. That's another extreme. So truly, the medicine has the tendency to soak all of your life. Some people even use it as an escape for some other problems. So this thing is multi-layered, is multifactorial. But I think mentorship will really help even in this job. You need a mentor to help you manage your schedule. As simple as food, eating is something else. I don't know why people underrate eating. At some point in house job, I started taking omeprazole for the first time because of a big guy. I drank coke. I had to tell myself, this is not how we live this life. You understand? But you have somebody you recourse back to. The person will begin to tell you, oh, this if you take this initiative. So I realized that I can be getting soup in different leathers that you put in one fridge. After work, you just carry one leather, go and turn eba. And that Gary is my favorite food because that's what I always had. Eba. It is easy to turn Gary. You put, you boil as a house office. I mean, and it kept spirit and soul together. So
okay, so I think that thank you very much, Dr. Vongdip, for that. I think there are some things that we should take note of as we're living. I'm saying this to our listeners now. One, I think you should decide your idea of solving problems. Just know that you are to give solutions. No added pressures. No added pressures. Because some people cannot say, that's a lot of expectation. No. Live your life like you are to solve problems. After all, Jesus too did that. And our plan is whatever he did, we can do and much more. Yes. So plan to solve problems. 2, the place of mentorship. 3, be efficient in what you're doing. Proper planning helps you. So you don't just, if not, you're going to be stressed out all through. So at least plan yourself properly and do the work you have to do efficiently. Maybe some other time in another episode, we can talk about working with people who are not even efficient.
One very important one. Stakeholder management.
Sorry. Yes. I should have started with that one.
Everyone suffering. Who can lighten, make things easy for you, stakeholder management.
So I think that works just well. We'll see what we can do about it in the next talk.